Man, welcome back, my people. See, I'm pimping my Chicago Bears hat tonight. We are on the East Coast in Washington, D.C. Got to make up for that game last year that was infamous for the Bears, taking a 10-game drop after that bad last-second debacle that the Redskins, the Commanders, caught in the end zone, touchdown, and the rest is history. Bears go on a long skid. We won't have that this year because Caleb Williams and my boys are balling right now. Bears up, I think, 13-0 to 14-0 right now, second quarter. So we're going to take that. Welcome to your Pull Up Podcast Show with your main mans and them, the one and only Coach Tony, season number 4, episode 405, where we have been rolling. First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for checking in each and every night. Thank you for the support. Thank you for putting us on. Thank you for making sure you subscribe to the show. Tonight, my guest tonight is very, very near and dear to me because without this guest tonight, there'll be a Tony T. There'll be a Coach Tony, but there wouldn't probably be a Pull-Up Podcast Show or the stories I got because my guest tonight made sure that we had an opportunity to make this possible, and the good thing about it is to look at community leadership, to look at an opportunity to work with a large minority group and then put that whole entire group set them up for success is what we're going to talk about tonight. But before we get there and before we bring it out, and by the way, my trusty sidekick, my girl, Val the Voice Johnson, she's going to ride with us tonight as well. She's coming in, so we should have a full audience pack. Make sure you do a few things, though, as we get started. Like the show, share with the people, make sure they share the show. More importantly, subscribe to the show, and make sure you put your questions in the link so that Val can put those questions up to our guests. We make sure we get all your questions answered tonight. But before we even tell you who they are, before we even bring them to the stage, Val, you know what to do. Drop it.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the voice and Coach Tony, it's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. I said bounce the voice and Coach Tony, it's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast.
Man, welcome back to the Pull Up Podcast Show with your boy, the main man, the one and only Coach Tony. Got my girls already checking in tonight. Megan's already checking in tonight on the ones and twos. Appreciate that tonight. Your questions are very, very important, so make sure you put them in the tagline. My guy tonight, graduate of North Central College, coming by the way of track and field, first Black athletic director at the university, and also very instrumental to my class coming on the yard, community leader, mentor, father, dad. I can continue to go on and on and on. But before I do that, I'm going to let him, kind of toot his own horn. Spring to the stage, the one and only, my guy, the one and only, Walter Johnson. Walt, what's good, baby?
Coach T.
Man, thank you for pulling up on me on the Pull Up Podcast Show tonight. Everybody, Megan's checking in. Mike Drew from Phoenix checking in tonight, man. Everybody, man, how you doing tonight, Walt?
I'm doing really well. I'm doing even better because I'm out here with you, and I'm hearing that some of your classmates are on here too. So this is cool.
Oh man, the crazy part about it, you guys don't even realize. Walt don't ever stop working. I try to reach out to him today, busy, I couldn't catch him until late in the afternoon. He's still in meetings. I'm like, man, you gotta get on this show. I gotta get you prepped for the show. So man, you remember Tom Joyner, his tagline was the hardest working man in radio.
Yep, I do remember Tom Joyner.
Yeah, man, I think that's you on this side of the house, man.
Hey, listen, you don't work, you don't eat.
Hey, there you go. You don't work, you don't eat.
It's kind of a simple formula.
Yeah, exactly. Vanessa checking in for the ATL, man, for the ATL. That's good. And we got my girl Val the Voice going to join us a little bit later on, which is real good. But let's jump into this with 2 feet, man. Like we coming off the high dive in the swimming pool back in the day. You remember we used to get, I was a kid trying to learn how to swim. And I never forget my crazy uncles in Alabama, man, used to push me off a rope, swinging over a little small river. And what they used to do, they were like, okay, we just gonna let you swing out in the water, have some fun. You didn't realize that they holding the other end of the rope. And as you got higher and higher, they snapped the rope in your hand. If you wasn't holding it strong, because they never told you to hold it strong, right? You automatically lost the rope and you were in the water. Man, that's how that's how I was taught how to swim, man. Survival of the fittest.
That's some country gangster stuff.
Oh, that's country gangster stuff. And then you got 3 or 4 cousins on the banks. So just in case you don't come up and do what you gotta do, they jump in and come get you, man. But in the meanwhile, you swimming, you kicking it. And the funny part about it all, the only move they taught you how to do?
What's that?
The dog paddle.
They didn't have to teach me how to dog paddle because I wasn't getting on no rope.
Right.
I knew my limitations. It's like, no, there's water and there's a rope. You know what? The rope can mind its own business. I'm not hanging out over the water.
Opening your own business, man. I tell you, man, we got so many people checking in tonight, looking forward to this good show tonight. Let's get back, man, to the early days so we can kind of tell the people where you're originally from. I know you're outside of Chicago area, but it's just for the audience here so they know exactly. Let's lay that early foundation, man. What high school did you come out of?
Well, I came out of Richards High School in Oak Lawn, but
Richards, yeah.
But if you think of Oak Lawn at the time when I was in high school, Oak Lawn was a lot like Naperville. Mm-hmm. But I was a lot like the students that I recruited to North Central. I have family in Robbins. Mm-hmm. I lived in Dixmoor, so I should have gone to Thornton High School. I lived in Dixmoor, and I hung out in Phoenix. And so all of those little black hamlets was really where I grew up. And then my aunt, I used to come to Chicago when I was a kid. My aunt lived on the south side of Chicago on 95th and King Drive.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day when it was called South Park. See, y'all might not. I might be too young to know that. It was.
I was too young to know that. I remember. We should call it the drive.
Drive was South Park. That's what it was. And she lived right across the street from what is now Chicago State University.
Correct.
Back in the day, like when because I used to come here because I lived in Ohio when I was really young. But when I would come up and visit my cousins in the summer, we would play in the railroad yard across the street. That railroad yard eventually became the property of Chicago State University, and that's she lived right across.
Oh yeah. So that's actually the train track that runs at Cottage Grove.
Yep.
Wow.
So I've been coming to Chicago since I was like 6 years old. We didn't move here until I got to high school, but Chicago South Side, Robbins, that whole area. I mean, I hung out every summer, so it was very familiar to me. And then I had cousins on the west side, so I would spend time on the west side. Would come to the Billiken Parade back when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. Mike Drew said that's his hood. And for those that's counting that don't realize, the younger people that are listening tonight, as he says, Richard High School, that will correlate to none other than the one and only T. Wade, who came out of Richards High School, Miami Heat rings. I played ball against D. Wade's older brother when he was back at Richard, dropping about 3,000 points in a career. So that's amazing, man. And then to just see that transformation. Chicago State right now, it is gorgeous, man. It's the work that they put in the university. Now, I don't know your personal opinion, but my personal opinion about Chicago State is I wish that they would drop out of D1 and go to D2 because they would be the only Division II school in the city of Chicago. And I think they will get a lot of student athletes that miss off that D1, D2, D1 mid-major boat And I think it would be a beautiful thing. They would be in the same conference, we'll say like a Lewis University, something like that. It would be excellent, but they won't do it.
No, and you know what? I agree with you that they probably would have more success in Division II, but really, and this applies to North Central, and North Central made the decision to do this. Really, you have to make a commitment to the division that you're in if you want to be successful. And in my opinion, the Chicago State has really never put the resource into athletics for them to be successful. I mean, and if you don't do that, then you're going to be mediocre. I would argue that DePaul has gotten a bit left behind because they haven't invested the way they could. That's an administrative decision. You know, Loyola has gotten better in basketball because they made a commitment once they started winning a little bit.
And Sister Jean helped out with that too.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it all comes down to either you want to be good or not. And if you're okay with just having athletics and saying you're in Division I, then you wind up being a really nice school like Chicago State, being very mediocre at the Division I level. And that's where your point, I think, makes the most sense. If you really aren't willing to make that commitment, then go to the next level down and dominate.
It dominated because it's still, I remember when I was coming through Morgan Park, south side of Chicago, I mean, not still to this very day, I talk to athletes that I recruit and talk to. There's still not a lot of kids that want to go to Chicago State, you know, just because of, like you just said, the DePauls and the Loyolas, and now even UIC has stepped up to the Missouri Valley. I think so they've done some big, not the Missouri Valley, but the Horizon. So they've done some big changes and all that, which is crazy. But, you know, looking at you and what you were doing, and you had an opportunity to come out to the yard, get out there, get out the city, come to the suburb. What attracted you to NCC, man? And you got a chance to come out at that time, because you're talking about late 70s, early 80s at that time. What attracted you to North Central and the Naperville area?
So if I'm really honest, I didn't know any better. Like,
okay,
let's just be
right.
I didn't know where I was going in terms of what the community looked like and that kind of thing. This is how it happened. My track coach in high school and my football coach both thought that I could be a pretty good Division III athlete. You know, I was fast enough maybe to run at Division I, but I wasn't fast enough to be really competitive, and they knew that. I wasn't big enough to play football in Division I. That was a fact, because I was like $160. So, so my options for playing sports and really getting a chance to compete was Division III. So they had a recruiting fair. North Central had a recruiting fair. They came into Oak Lawn at the Oak Lawn Hilton, and the coaches came in, the athletic director. And so that's when I originally met Alcarius. And this may go back a ways, but the former athletic director at University of Illinois that helped turn their programs around was a guy by the name of Ron Gunther. Ron and Hank Gunther were co-head coaches at North Central, and that's how I wound up at North Central. I met them. They were the football coaches, and I met Alcarius. And so I thought, okay, so I went back and I told my high school football coach, Gary Corhornan, who's a legendary high school coach, won 2 state championships. When I said, hey, I'm thinking of going to North Central, they both said that'd be the perfect place for you. So I went out for a visit. Seemed okay, but how much do you really know when you go for a day visit? You know, you 17, 18-year-old, everything is impressive.
I'm going to tell you about that on my side of the house. You're going to already know about it. And speaking of that, your sister baby girl's checking in. Lisa, what's going on? I'm glad you're checking in tonight. Sonia Brown checking in all the way from Dallas, Texas, checking in tonight. So I appreciate it, you know. But you white Walt about how do you know, and all that. So when you met those guys and you seen what you could do and you had the opportunity to come and go to the next level, kind of take it to the next level, what was that ultimate decision that you say, you know something, I'm going to go there?
Good people. I mean, I thought they were sincere. I thought, they were out. How could you not how could you not be influenced by Al's enthusiasm?
Yeah,
And his belief that you can compete. And I was a runner, so I was more of a track guy than I was a football guy. So it was like, hey, this guy is telling me I can run for him. That's what I want to do. So okay, bad news. I wasn't even thinking about, the school academically.
Right.
I wasn't I want, because school was school. Like if you go to school, you're supposed to study, you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. But the rest of it was the piece that I really wanted. I felt like, hey, if I could do that, then it would make school, all that much
easier.
Yes. And so I made the decision because I really believed in my high school coaches who thought I could succeed there. And Al Carius was really the final influencer in me making that decision to come there. And so I did. But I had no idea really that the school at that time, predominantly white is an understatement, because only 8 Black students in my freshman class.
Oh, wow. Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Now that I didn't know.
Yeah. So to say predominant, that's no, it was, we were the few specks of pepper in a salt shaker. Like that's basically what it was.
In a salt shaker, it's probably 60-40.
So I come, my I met a guy, my roommate from college who we're still, great friends today. He came in from New York for the thing last Thursday. It was me and him. His brother was a sophomore. There was probably 10 sophomores.
Wow.
And maybe 3 or 4 juniors, because they brought in a lot of Black kids, mainly athletes, but they didn't really support them. Or I shouldn't say that. The supports weren't in place. You're gonna bring kids in from the city to an all-white suburb.
Correct.
And you don't have any of the services or any of the things that are going to help them feel at home. You couldn't get your hair cut, so you got to go back into the city. All that was part of the problem. So there were very few. I think there was maybe 3 seniors, if I recall.
Right.
There was maybe 5 or 6 sophomores. I think there was 8 juniors. 8. There was 5 or 6 juniors. There was like maybe 8 sophomores, and then there was us. There was 10. So, but of that 10, 7 of us graduated.
Oh man!
So we did all right.
Yep.
And so my experience at North Central, in terms of what doors it opened for me, was really what enamored me with what had occurred. Like every year I went through, did my thing, ran track, did this and that, had friends, but there was some crazy stuff. Okay, I will tell you a crazy story. You're not even believe this. So we had an intramural. All the brothers had an intramural team.
Right.
Okay. We played in an intramural. So all the brothers, because it was a lot more segregated in terms of who you hung out with and what you did. Like even if you were on the same team. So we had an intramural team. Our intramural team was called the Players. Now, the Players.
I can feel that.
Okay, but the Players was a playoff of an adult magazine back in the day for brothers called the Players.
Player magazine, right?
All right, okay. This is the crazy part. There was an all-white intramural softball team. Wait for it. They were called the Klan. I'm dead serious.
Oh no, and that was a play on a magazine from Tennessee. And on that note, we're gonna take a quick break after this first quarter, and we're gonna be right back and pick up with my mans and them, the one and only Walter Johnson. I'm of course Coach Tony, and this is the Pull Up Podcast Show. Val, let's pay some bills real quick. We'll be right back for the second quarter on the Pull Up Podcast Show. Hey, I'm Coach Tony, and this is the Pull Up Podcast Show. For every Monday, we break down the game quarter by quarter and give you information as well as break down the culture. Join us on the Pull Up Podcast.
Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the voice and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. I said bounce the voice and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up.
Are you a small business owner looking to grow? Introducing the Key Spot mobile app. I'm Cynthia McAllister, owner of the IT company Quality SAP. Since 2016, we have been supporting small businesses and help them promote and share their businesses, services, and events across the country. Key Spot is more than just an app. We are a network providing community. Key Spot, connecting communities and supporting small businesses.
Man, welcome back to the second quarter of the Pull Up Podcast Show. And I'm still tripping because I would have loved to have been a promoter. Championship game, introducing in the left-hand corner. We got the players, mostly from the Shy, coming in, and they are playing the Clans. And y'all roll out in straight up all black, and they come out in all white.
No, that exactly is what happened. I'm not joking. That is exactly what happened. Okay, and then the deal was we played for the winner. The loser would have to buy all the beer, the kegs of beer.
Oh yeah, the kegs.
The celebration party afterwards. Okay. Right. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something that y'all didn't know. I almost got kicked out of North Central.
Oh man, well let me tell you something that they do know. I did. Okay.
So now understand, I didn't drink. Okay, and back in the day, the drinking age was 18, but I didn't drink. I didn't smoke weed. Weed was illegal, but everybody smoked weed. I didn't smoke weed. Exactly. I was the one guy that everybody was like the next morning would say, "Tell me what I did," because I know you were sober enough to see us.
Correct, right.
So, but we had the biggest room. We had the biggest dorm room on campus. So we won the game.
What dorm were you in?
So we were in Cyber.
Okay, in Cyber.
Down near Kimmel. And we had a corner room. It was huge. So anyway, the party was there. We had the kegs in there, etc. But everybody talked about it. So the residence hall director knew. Nobody kept their mouth shut, knew. So anyway, the party's going on. It's in our room. You know, kegs are not allowed. You know, we're not supposed. He comes to the door. He sees everybody with the cups, writes us all up.
Right.
Now, except for me. I didn't get written up, but it would have been my roommate's second write-up.
Ooh.
And so I took the write-up, and it almost got me kicked out of school.
Wow.
That was the one time where I didn't have a choice because I didn't want my boy to get kicked out, so I went ahead and took the write-up. So I got wrote up when I was at North Central, almost got kicked out of school for having a keg party in my room when I don't even drink.
Man, let me tell you something. You was so instrumental to me because I damn near got Mike Drew and them homies kicked out off the yard birthday. I never forget. In your celebration, when it was over, I went up and apologized to Dean Mosher. I said, look, Dean Mosher, I don't know if you remember me or not. Tony Thompson. He started laughing, Walt. But I'll never forget, and when I say this was one of the best weekends I had, man, just reminiscing and getting an opportunity to just hang out with Megan and Red and Vanessa and everybody was in the show. Mike Drew was in town, Zoe, Greg Jackson, everybody, the young kids, and telling them the stories of the history of how we were able to transform the yard. And I'll never forget when we came over, we were in Student Village, which is now where you had the celebration at. And I was amazed because I had no idea they transformed it.
That's right.
And we go in and I never forget, you came to the city. And I never get you sit in my kitchen. It was unique for me because, I had Bill Wharton, who was ex-Morgan Park guy, coach, player, the whole 9 yards, came out, said, come on out. And you came in and told my mom and all that, which she still thinks, man, Walt's still looking good. She was like, you were like, I am putting together something that's never, ever, ever been seen at this school before. And we are bringing in the largest minority class to the school. And when we came in and we hit those doors, man, me, Rob Brown, Rhea, Megan, Ray, I get your sister Lisa, I can go on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. Now, Don, I don't want to embarrass you and all that. But what sold me was the night that everything went crazy with Don and Jerry Lincoln. I was like, I'm going to school here. But it was so funny because I never forget the day that I ended up in Dean Mosier's office. And he said, Tony Thompson, listen, let me tell you something. I'm the dean of this university and I know your first and last name. You end up in my office one more time. You're going to go to school, but it won't be here. And I never forget, you pulled us and you came up to Student Village the next day. You said me, Shane, Curtis Jackson, Sid, all of them down. You said, look, man, I am trying to do something at this campus that hadn't been done, because if I'm not mistaken, you were the first African-American AD at the time, right?
Yep.
And so
that's true.
We just set up and we said, you know something, dog? If we're going to get kicked out, it ain't going to be on Walter's dime. It'll be on some other BS we did, man. So I'm telling you, man, the stuff that you did, and I don't think that would occur unless, like you just said, you had already gone through that process and had some of it, you know?
I always felt like I recruited students who I felt had something more than me. Like, I always felt like if I can do this, then let me go find some other people, some other young people who are like me, but maybe have a little more. And, and every single one of you all, I felt could accomplish more than me. So my attitude was, y'all not going to screw this up on my watch because you're better than that. No, the attitude is you're better than that. And so, no, let's put all that aside. There's a time and a place, and let's focus on what you came here to do. And I probably said it in ways that was more relatable to you all at the time. The bottom line was, look, I wanted all of y'all to just achieve what I knew you could achieve. What I was always amazed by was, and I didn't find this out till later, you all, like later after you all had graduated and started having some success. You told me this on the golf course when we played golf years ago.
I remember at Tamarack, wasn't it?
No, I was in Nashville visiting my daughter.
Yes.
We played at McCabe.
At McCabe. And let me tell you something real quick before Walter finishes. His daughter, and the only reason why I called Walter, I'm driving down 65 and I call Walter up and I say, Walter, I don't know if this is your daughter, but they got your daughter on the freaking billboard on I-65. Now, they don't know, but I know your daughter and I know the name. And he says, yeah, Tony, that's my daughter. She's at Belmont.
Yep, wow, you remember that. Yes.
I remember that.
I tell you what, the first time we saw it, we were driving in to see her, and I'm driving along, it's like, wait, is that Maggie?
Yeah.
Yep, they put her on that billboard. Belmont did a lot to get her off the ground, man. So you shared with me when we were playing golf at McCabe that the things that I said to you made so much sense that you were able to focus on kind of first things first. Like, you were still Tony T, like you've always been who you are.
Yeah.
But it was like you understood, okay, let me make sure I get the right things right.
Right. Yep.
I didn't know I was having that kind of impact on you or anybody else. And you may have been the first person that shared that with me. And then as time went on, people like the McCads would say stuff like, you taught us how to tie a tie. I had forgotten. Like, what?
Right.
Yeah. And then
because you got to remember at that time, I'm going crazy because I never forget, Vanessa brought this up last week, I think Friday or Saturday night. I never forget when we almost got in trouble because we used to party and all the dudes used to come in from the west side. We had Marty and all them dudes coming in from Springfield, and Mike Druden was in Fort Hill, because Fort Hill opened my freshman year, which is his junior year. And we used to party and hang out, but I never forget, you said, listen, man, just don't get my telephone rung after midnight. You do whatever y'all want, but don't don't let Dean Mosier, Rick Spencer, any of those guys, Jeff, none of those guys ring my. And we had so much respect for you, but I never forget, we were partying so hard in Seeger, and you made it okay for us as an AD if you remember, we started partying upstairs in the wrestling gym or upstairs in Myrna Fieldhouse in the old gym. Yeah, we were because we were getting in so much trouble in the dorm. You know, when you look at that and you look at the overall perspective as you came in and you became that athletic director and you started to go back to Chicago because Chicago became your hotbed, you know, going back and getting the kids. What was the overall mindset of when you say, you know, as you mentioned a moment ago, I need to go get a particular type of kid that I'm trying to fit this bill to bring on this university that could carry out my thoughts. What was it when you got back to Chicago to go to CVS and Morgan Park and Gordon Tech and Lane Tech and all that to kind of get that mix of kids? Because you got us from north, south, east, west side of Chicago. But when we got to the yard, man, we became family.
So all of you had you know, kind of one similar thing in common. All of you wanted to be successful. You didn't know what it looked like yet.
Right.
And when I looked at your transcripts, I saw stuff there that told me you understood how to compete. And I knew to be successful at North Central and ultimately be successful long term, you had to understand you got to compete. It ain't going to be given to you. And you all knew that because where you grew up, how, you know, what your parents expected of you, the neighborhoods you were from, y'all understood that. And I also felt like all of you had an advantage that a lot of people thought, if you didn't come from where we come from, people thought was a disadvantage. And I thought, no, here's what it was. Every single one of you. In fact, I believe every kid from the city has this advantage if they wind up in a place like North Central. Here's the advantage. You all already know what it looks like to compete in the hood. Okay?
Correct. That's what we call hood Olympics.
Right. Now, if you could learn how to be bicultural and bilingual, you're going to have the advantage over your counterparts who live in a homogeneous environment. You understand what I'm saying? So now when you graduate from North Central, you can take a job anywhere and understand the language, understand the culture, understand the nuances and expectations because you lived with it. You spent 4 years studying it. It wasn't just what was happening in the classroom. And all of you picked up on that. And so when I look back, it's part of the reason why all of you guys have had some level of success. Because you can walk into any room, doesn't matter who's in the room, black, white, brown, doesn't matter. You can still be you, but they can speak in a language that maybe maybe folks who had not had the experience that you all had wouldn't understand. You could walk in and go, oh, I know exactly what that guy's saying. I know exactly what she's saying. I get it. On the reverse side of that, they can't walk into your neighborhood and know the language.
Exactly right.
All of you had an advantage in North Central. Like I said, you all came with everything you needed. That's what I said the other night. You came with everything you needed. The things that you picked up from North Central just strengthened who you already were. Like here's the way I would describe it. And so getting back to your question, what was it about you all? If you think in terms of a diamond in the dirt, an uncut diamond in the dirt,
diamond in the rough.
Right, diamond in the rough. You look at that thing, you know it's a diamond, but it's not impressive.
Right.
Okay, it's already been under pressure. Where you all grow up, whatever, there's pressure there. It's already been under pressure. That's how it turned into a diamond. But it's uncut, it's unpolished. There's nothing really impressive about it. It's just people saying that's a diamond. But now, you put it in a North Central, and they start polishing it.
Right.
They start smoothing the edges.
Start shining.
Yep, that shine comes through, and everybody goes, well, how did you know it was a diamond? Because y'all don't know where they from.
Right. From the cut.
I knew what they were when they showed up. You think you turned them into a diamond. No, you polished them. Right. They were already diamonds. So I would say, kind of as a final statement, I looked for diamonds.
There you go. You know, I tell you,
I didn't care what side of town you were from or what suburb.
Right.
No, that kid's a diamond. Well, Walter, he don't look like a diamond. Trust me, he's a diamond. Well, she's a diamond. Wait, she don't look like no. Shut up. I know what a diamond looks like.
Right.
I work in the mines. I know that's
right. I work in the mines, right? And I got that told. And you were right, because you had when I say suburbs, to the south side, to the north side, to the west side, over east, everything. And Michael Drew says, Walter, your impact on all of us was so undeniable and incredible. It was just straight up invaluable. And then, of course, the one and only Sonia Brown says, Walter, you brought some inner city kids together to see a whole new world and reach for more. I never knew that Naperville was so close to Chicago at the time until I came out to NCC. That was me. I was like, damn, this is the suburbs? Because you got to remember, a lot of people don't understand. Well, you knew this because you were at Richardson so close. You know how it is in Chicago. For those that don't know, basketball in the afternoon in Chicago was played at 3:30 in the afternoon tip-off game because the game violence was so bad. When we played at 7 o'clock at night, it had to be a game in the suburb, period. And so when you brought us out to the school, like this was like, wow, we can transform that. And then the class that came in, we not only came in, but we came in with a vengeance. The men and the women, we had so many of the basketball team upperclassmen quit because we came through the door like, man, we ain't sitting on no bench. We coming to play. The girls came through the door on the track. They were ready, like we ready to run. We ain't sitting there to Al Carriers tell us we can run. We walking through the door, we ready to run. You know, it was so different.
And it was the same in the classroom. Like the thing. So here's the difference between. This is the clear difference between what it looked like when I was at North Central and what I recruited in terms of bringing you all to North Central. Yes, I wanted to bring top-notch athletes, but I wanted them to be top-notch students. And you didn't have to be an athlete. Like that didn't have to be your thing. You know, I think of Benita Sutherland. She didn't come to be an athlete. She was a student. You know, Sonia Brown. She didn't come to be an athlete. She came to be a student. Like, you know,
Dawn was an athlete. She came to be a student.
Right. So it wasn't in the past. It was mainly about athletics. For me, though, it was about young people who understood how to compete, who wanted something better. So for me today, part of the payoff is to see what you all have accomplished. You know what the coolest part for me is now? When I hear about one of y'all sons and daughters doing something.
And you said that to me. I remember you and I were talking after your daughter, and I said, man, Walt, my son getting ready to go to MTSU. He ready to go down to Middle Tennessee State University, and my daughter just come out of Western. You're like, what? Going to college? And it was just funny. And I never forget a lot of the things you had pushed into me, I pushed into him, you know, the reverse psychology. I never forget. And I was struggling at the time before I got kicked out of the yard. And I came to you and I was talking, and Dean Mo just said to me, like, listen, Tony, listen, man. I don't know what they're saying and they're telling you, but I want to reverse your train of thought. And I never forget, I remember this all 30 years, and I just gave my son, it worked, and it still works today. And I never forget you told me, you know how most people talk about you got to go from freshman year to senior, you climbing up this mountain? He says, nah. You said, when you get to your sophomore year, you're already on top of the mountain. All you need to do now is just walk down. He said, if you're trying to walk up this mountain, once you get up as a senior, you're still on top of the mountain. Then unless you're going to go get a master's, PhD, and all that and walk down, you can struggle. But I just want you to walk two years up, get on top of the mountain, walk 2 years down, back on the ground. At that point, you make whatever decisions you want to make, and I've done my part. And I thought that was one of the most powerful things. And it was so crazy because we not only was the largest class, but we all graduated on time. You know, no one had to go and be the next class or the class after that. And it was just so amazing. And, crazy. It's
all credit to you all. It really is. I appreciate every time I hear you all talk about stuff that I did, but, you know, and I do, I'm not downplaying any of that, but I keep coming back to you all had it in you from the beginning. If I was anything, I was your tour guide, you know, because you all,
you was a hell of a tour guide then, I'm telling you.
So you know, you talk about Michael Drew. And I was talking about getting the chance to hear what your kids are doing. Michael Drew was in town a couple of months back, and I got a chance to meet his son, who went to
Yeah,
Knox.
he was telling me that. Yeah, he was telling me that. Yes.
Played ball at Knox, and now he's he's on the corporate ladder on his way up. And it's like that's for me. That's why David, my son, made me cry because it's like
he gave a hell of a speech.
He encapsulated it all. It was never about me. It was, in fact, my biggest concern was making sure I didn't convince you guys or convince you guys to do something that was against who you really were. I didn't like. It would have been crazy if I would say, "Hey, Tony, you can't talk like that. That's too silly. You got to check." No, Tony got to be Tony.
Right.
Michael Drew got to be Michael Drew. Vanessa got to be Vanessa, and stay strong in that. And you all did. You maintained who you were. Mm-hmm. I think that's part of the reason why you all were successful, because you didn't have to become something else to be successful. You could be successful and still be you, and you proved it. All of you guys, you proved it.
Man, and I love that you didn't try to change us. We're gonna take our halftime break right here. We on the go. I mean, I'm just. I got so much in my head right now, but we got our main mans in them, the one and only Walter Johnson, award-winning Walter Johnson with North Central on with your boy Coach Tony on the Pull Up Podcast Show. Val, take us to halftime real quick. We'll be right back for the third quarter of the Pull Up Podcast Show. Talk to me. Who you got?
I mean, just look at the lineup on the Millennials. You got Steph Curry, best three-point shooter in of all time. Matter of fact, we got Kevin Durant, KD. Slim Reaper, one of the best players. We got Harden, Joker, and of course LeBron James, the GOAT of basketball himself. And he's the all-time leading scorer. Brings teams from the bottom all the way to the top. Without him, I mean, man.
I'm gonna answer that.
What would basketball even be?
I'm gonna give you that in a minute, but okay, Coach Justin, what you got?
Man, it's tough. I'm thinking about it. Magic is gonna be AI. Jordan is gonna be Kobe. Shaq is going to get the edge on Hakeem Olajuwon. Tim Duncan is going to get the edge on Charles Barkley. Larry may have the edge. Millennials, I got to X out the Millennials just because they have James Harden on there. If they might replace him with someone else that I could think of, I probably would pick the Millennials over everybody.
Let's go. Let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast.
I'm speaking last, and you were intimidated. First off, I have to say I'm truly humbled, and I'm proud to be amongst this distinguished group that's being honored this evening. I'm a little bit overwhelmed, and I have to apologize a little bit, tiny bit. I kind of hijacked this thing and turned it into a family reunion. I have an incredible family, and I'm excited that they were able to be here tonight. I have incredible friends that are here, and I have a bunch of my younger North Central brothers and sisters who decided to come out and join us tonight. And so I'm a little bit overwhelmed, but this is exactly what I hoped would happen. So this was intentional. I wanted this family reunion to occur, and you all showed up, and I am so excited to see all of you. Some of you I haven't seen in 30 years. And so I get to say a few things tonight that I've wanted to say to you for a long time, because I might not get another 30 years. So it's going to happen tonight.
Man, that was, when you said that, that was awesome, because I thought the same thing. What I'm saying, God, some of these people that I haven't seen in 30 years. And as we bring Val to the stage, and Mike Drew's got a comment. I'm gonna read something to you when we get started. But Mike Drew says, Walter, man, in your opinion, do you feel like NCC still has that same focus on diversity that was a huge part of the legacy back in the day? Or does it feel like, they're set in a different direction right now?
So I'm not going to point the finger in either direction, because I quite frankly, I can't speak to what North Central's focus is today.
Right.
I can speak to what North Central's focus was back in the day.
Right.
And there's a chance that it's the same, but here's the difference. And I had a conspirator, and if it wasn't for the fact that he was in Missouri with his college buddies, I would have called him out and had him come to the stage, because a lot of you all know he played a role in this, but none of you knew how much we kind of conspired behind the scenes. North Central had two things back in the day. One was me. That was obvious. I was out there recruiting the city and bringing in kids from the suburbs, people of color from Gary, Indiana, and so forth.
Yep.
But the guy I would sit down with, who trusted me, that we would discuss every student, especially if a student looked marginal, I would say 95% of the time, if I said that student could make it, he said, okay, we'll give him a shot. And that was Rick Spencer.
My boy, Rick, I knew you were going to say that. And did you know that me and Rick Spencer still talk to this very day? Because Rick has been, matter of fact, to give a quick plug, and I know his mom's watching, Kyla Green, thank you, Kyla, and Justin Davis. Both of those guys are playing on the football team. And I talked to you earlier when you and I were talking, and both of these guys were going to leave. They were from Nashville coming in, Brentwood High School here in Tennessee, and I still got two more kids I'm throwing that way. And I never forget, I called you, and I was like, Walt, I got a couple kids, man, for the keynote team, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, what are you talking about, Tony? You said, man, reach out to Rick. And then you gave me Rick's number, and I called Rick, and Rick says, T, he's always talking, sweet T, what's up, baby? I said, man, my son is a coach. I'm like, get out of here. He said, yeah, call Brad up. So I called Brad up and I said, hey, Brad, I got a kid that's a DB. I got a kid that's a receiver. Nashville. They came up. They want to see the school. I never forget when I talked to the mom, Natasha. I had texted her the other day when I was there Saturday. And Kyla got in, loved the campus, and wanted to come home for some young girl. And I said, listen, man, you can come home if that's what you choose to do. But you're already on top of the mountain as a sophomore. All you got to do is walk down the back. And you just, what you do, just give me 1 year. Just give me 1 year. And he stayed his sophomore year, Walton. What happened last year? National champs. So now he's on that wall of fame, baby. He's on it. And do you think he thought about leaving? No. He's there to graduate, and mom loves it. And he's now a Cardinal for life and about to get 1 more year and be done and be out of there, and it's amazing. So I'm going to read something to you. This gentleman, class of 2009, said the enduring impact of Walter Johnson and his work prior to me getting there continues to inspire subsequent generations, encouraging us to pursue our aspiration. He serves as a mentor to me without me officially meeting him, having been instrumental in the lives of the people before me. He influences, persists, as I was able to connect with alumni in the past. The weekend for the homecoming got an opportunity to meet people like you, Coach Tony, other people in that class, and to hear the stories of the yard, the real yard, as you guys went through. None of this would have occurred without Walter Johnson. And this is none other than Greg Jackson, class of 2009.
Greg, I know him because of David. Like, that's how I
David, right? He and David, right? Correct.
Yeah, that's how I got connected. And Rick Spencer, and people just don't know that it was me and Rick all the time.
Love Rick.
He was the director of admissions. And so when you ask the question, you know, has the culture changed, has the atmosphere changed? I would argue, I'm not sure if North Central is that much different today than it was then. Like, North Central never rejected Black students then. They wanted them. They just didn't know how to find them. They didn't understand how to relate. They wanted to, but they didn't have the infrastructure, or a Rick Spencer or Walter Johnson that said, look, Rick, if you accept this student, I'm telling you they can make it. I'll take it from there. Trust me. And Rick would say, okay, I trust you. And then I trusted you guys. Like, all right, you're here, do what you came for. And you all did. Okay, fast forward. North Central, you know, Lisa Pettaway is the longest serving person of color.
Yeah, I talked to Pettaway. I talked to her Saturday night. Yep.
At North Central. And Lisa's never been a recruiter. She's on the fundraising side. There's no one who is connected that way with that kind of mentality. That's the thing that's changed. North Central is the same. It's the people that have changed, and that's the difference. Now, let me give a plug, because this is a full circle moment.
Okay.
There is one person who is still locked in. Was locked in from the time he was 2 years old all the way to the day. And it's a full circle moment for me. So how did I get to North Central? Rick Spencer hired me.
Oh, wow.
Okay? Yeah. Rick Spencer hired me, and we became kind of partners in crime the whole time. Let's do this. Yep. We're going to diversify the school. We're going to prove all the pundits wrong. We're going to get this, and y'all did. Okay. Now, fast forward, Rick's son Brad graduates from North Central.
Yep.
Guess who hires him as the recruiting coordinator for the football program?
You do.
Yes. Rick hired me. I hired his son.
Now, and then Brad has not let the school down, period, because right now he is the most winningest coach in the last decade.
And to bring this back to what we're talking about, he probably influences more Black lives than any other element on campus. Think about that. Like, he probably got more of a critical mass of students of color on the football team.
Yes.
Maybe any other program, any other sports program, any other academic program. So the Spencer piece of this still exists, but I have to bring it back to the way this all happened initially. Wasn't just Walter Johnson. It was Walter Johnson and Rick Spencer.
Relationships. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I just bumped into
just carrying that on.
I just bumped in this weekend, Walt. I'm out to dinner. I bumped into a dude from freaking Wheaton, a girl from Wheaton, another one. I said, I love y'all, but we just put a foot all up in there last weekend. I know y'all don't want to hear that, but what's what we just did for homecoming. But the cool part about it was that 4-letter logo, that's CCIW. And I've met so many people in Nashville from the area, and the respect is so crazy. And they found out I got a podcast, and guys listen to me and come on the podcast about whatever. But it's nuts, because to see a school that's in a PWI, and then you bring in these young minorities that have an opportunity to cut their own way. And I love it for the fact, Walt, that now I got a young man who's a national champion, possibly maybe a double-time national championship in this year or next year, right? Before he graduates. But he's going to now leave with a story. But more importantly, he's going to be an alumni when he was set to quit halfway up the mountain.
Yep. It's North Central, I really feel because of where it's located, really has a lot of things going for it. I mean, it's in Naperville. Naperville is prosperous. It's in DuPage County, very prosperous. It can be intimidating for the wrong kind of student, whether you are from the city or from some little podunk town in southern Indiana. It can be intimidating. And you can't be timid when you show up at North Central if you come from one of those places. I keep coming back to, none of you all were timid. You may have had personalities. Some personalities were more soft edged and voices were soft spoken, but you all had the same thing. This belief that there was something that you could accomplish. And I would say most of you didn't even know what it was yet.
Yeah.
But you thought you could. Right? You thought you could. And you proved it. Now, and you keep proving it. That's the part that always brings me joy, is that you keep proving it. And you're doing it all in different areas. It isn't like there was no cookie cutter piece. Like, you can find 10, I can't find 10 Tony Thompsons. There's one.
Right.
You know? Right? I'm going to tell you this quick story. So I had a chance probably about 3-4 months ago to have dinner with David Kendall. Do you remember David Kendall?
David, man, where is he at now?
So this dude, this guy has traveled and worked and lived around the world.
Oh my God.
The world. Like Dubai. He has lived around the world. Okay. And I didn't know this about David Kendall when I recruited him, because David always seemed polished.
Right.
He said to me while we're at dinner, because I'm chit-chatting, and again, I'm making the assumption he came from a suit and tie family or something, because he's always polished.
Yeah.
He said to me, Walter, I have really never been around anybody like you. I said, what are you talking about? I don't understand what that means. He said, my father was a mechanic. There were no suit and ties. And he said, and this is when I started to realize, man, maybe I didn't realize what you all were watching. And then I got afraid. It was like, ooh, I could have screwed this up. He said, we watched you go in and out of boardrooms and still be yourself. Like, you would go in like you belong there. And then we'd see you in a suit, and then we'd see you casual. You were doing all the things.
Exactly.
And I didn't know. I was just doing.
Then trying to see you come down to the gym trying to hoop with us, man.
Oh, well, yeah.
Wait a minute now.
Oh, yeah. Hey, let me tell you something. People don't know. Hey, Candace Parker. First of all, I love my girl Candace Parker way before Val's time. Candace used to come up on the school, pigtails and braces in her mouth. Tony Parker, same thing. Little David, same thing. Come thump them on the head. They come up there in the gym with us while we was hooping. And I've been trying to get Candace on my podcast. So Candace, you see it. And by the way, for those that don't know, Candace broke an opportunity today, Walter. She is now about to be the model for, I think, is it Vogue magazine? One of the magazines that she just got chosen today. So that is absolutely incredible. So Val, welcome to the show, girl. What's happening?
I was wondering if you saw me here, because I mean, I'm sitting up here like, I'm just gonna let them talk. Let me find the photos.
You had to be in the old school. And what it's like the Pied Piper. Walter was back there trying to fine tune us back in the day. When he got to your class,
story about Candace Parker. By the time he got
to your class, he was fine tuned already.
Walter, I wanted to share something with you. And here's the thing. There's a lot of folks in the chat, so I want to make sure I get to that a little bit. I think this is someone David Johnson, full circle moment. Dad, your granddaughter is up late watching you. And says, hi,
Papa, baby girl.
Yes. What's funny is that's exactly what they call me. I'm not Papa. Like, they call me Papa Walter.
Oh, so hey, that's why I know me and you love each other, because my granddaughters call me Papa.
Yeah, I'm Papa Walter. But both of them. It was like, when it first happened, it was like, what did they? Then I thought, no, this is cool. My name is Walter. And they're giving me the proper respect. They say,
hey,
Walter.
I was trying to actually become Papa T. They were like, nah, that's you.
Walter, I wanted to share something with you about my papa.
Okay.
I found this picture. My uncle shared it with me. My father attended North Central College in the 60s. This was taken, I think, in Geiger. This is the 1960s. And my uncle graduated, but my dad didn't because he liked to party. And they were both on the football. I believe they were both on the football team.
1960. That's 60.
But the dad told the Walt when he found out that Val had an opportunity to go to North Central, he said, "That's what school I want you to go." And she chose North Central over Howard. So I got to give my girl kudos because Val stayed home because Pop said, if you go to North Central, I'll pay for that.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Because I ended up fulfilling something. I ended up fulfilling something that he wanted to complete that he didn't. Let me not get emotional. That he didn't. And all of them came to my all of them came to my graduation, and my uncle is still alive. He was a part of the North Central College alumni board for a minute, and then he's retired. He served in the military and a bunch of other things. But yeah, it's weird. Johnson, it's a Johnson tradition to be at North Central College. I thought I would share that with you.
Y'all like Johnson and Johnson.
Thank you, Val. I didn't know that history. I appreciate you sharing that. Wow.
When she told me that, Walt, I was like, man, you gotta tell Walter this. I said, because he may not even know this is right before.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know there was a connection to North Central, previous. Like with Don Plez, I knew there was a connection.
Yeah, Don.
Who else? Oh, somebody that you know these two, but I think they live in Ohio now. Derek and Tracy Malone.
Oh, I love Dave. No, they're not in Ohio no more. They're in Indiana now, Walt.
Mm-hmm.
Are they? So I reached out.
So they were Tracy and upgrade. Tracy was my home. Man, Tracy was my heart. Tracy was
okay. So here's my connection to Tracy. I went to school with her father.
You did?
Yes.
You did?
I went to school with Tracy's father. Yes.
I remember Tracy's dad. He was something else.
Oh, he was so cool. And he was a minister, cool. And he's the one that encouraged Tracy to be a minister. And I looked up to Tracy. We were close to her my freshman year because she had a thing for Derek. Derek and I were in the same class, 93, and she was 3. She was an upperclassman dating a freshman. She didn't care. She loved Derek.
I'll tell you what was crazy about that was it was like at first it was like I'll get this, but she was like the perfect thing for him.
She was,
and vice versa. And it was like this is I didn't realize he needed that.
Yeah, Mo was laid back.
It was like, no, this is perfect.
Yeah, and I think
it's crazy because Mo was so laid back. I mean, he played ball.
Quiet.
He was real quiet. Even on the yard, he kicked it with us and all that. The only thing that I wish you would have done, Walt, I know, man, you talked earlier, is I wish that in that 89, you would have done something or been able to do something when Drew, Corey, Ephraim, because we adopted him, Carl Brooks and all the, when me, myself, Brian, we all pledged the black fraternities, and you were able, I wish you were able to have pull that plaque on the yard. Yeah. We'd have had a Kappa stake, an Alpha stake, an AKA stake, and a Delta stake with all those that pledged in 89 right after that, because this year would have been great to just see the growth of the black fraternity and sorority, the Divine Nine, on the yard, because that's the only piece that I don't see that the school has, basically expanded to, so to speak.
No, I agree with you.
Tracy.
I know. Look at him. And who was just up there? Reverend Houston.
Right. He was, and then your sister said, just to let you know, since Walter and Rick actually made NCC a special kind of place, and it was one of those kind of places that it made everybody want to be where they want to be. I'm telling you, Mom. I remember when I got kicked off the yard. You remember when I called you and Worley was like, "Boy, no, you don't want me to go talk to Walter and Rick." And I'm like, listen, man, let's handle this. And he's like, listen, if I got to sit down with Walter and Rick, it's probably going to be not too good for you. So here's what you're going to have to do. He said, the park that's right there by Edwards Hospital? I go, yeah, Knock Park. That's my auntie. She's 85 years old. You're going to move into her house for a year. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, man? And that's your punishment. But I took it like a soldier, Walt. I had to go do 5 and 10, But I took it like a soldier. But it was so cool because it grew me up. Because my mama had 2 things. My mom said, boy, you bring your ass back to Chicago, I only got 2 things for you. Get a job or go to the military. Now, I wasn't ready for either one of them.
I'm glad you brought Dick Worley up because I'd have been remiss not including
Scott
him.
Worley, my classmate.
So before me, the kids who were succeeding at North Central, the athletes that were succeeding were the athletes on the basketball team.
Yep.
And what Dick would do, because some of them were bright enough to make it, but they couldn't afford it.
Correct.
Dick hired all of them. So do you know? I'm trying to think. Let me think of a few.
I can tell you, Nate, myself, Mike McFadden.
Mike McFadden was one of his favorites.
Michael Drew. Hey, that's why I tell Val. I try to give Val the old history because when Worley came through with Nashville Ready Mix and everything we did, I remember the cornfields on 34 going to Joliet before you see the prison. I remember the cornfields up on Ogden Avenue where Michael Jordan built his facility. Val, I'm talking about Dick Worley. He and Walter tell you, he wasn't one of those negotiation type of guys. It was a line.
Nope.
It was it. Nope. It was either you on this side or you on that side.
Right.
Period.
So Dick Worley really, again, I'm glad you brought him up because here's something that you all don't know. So I'm about to share this piece. So I was about to leave North Central.
Okay.
Not because I didn't want to be there, but I needed to make more money. Like right. Family, I got to make more money. I wasn't making any money at North Central. And I was, when I left Procter & Gamble, I was salesman of the year. So I still had a reputation.
I remember that because I worked at P&G when I came out. I remember when you were working at P&G.
So make a long story short, I'm on a recruiting trip with Bill Warden to see Daryl Thomas.
DT at Morgan Park, baby.
Yes. Yeah. And we go in, we meet with him, et cetera, et cetera. He wound up going to Alcorn first, and then he transferred in. But anyway, we go to meet with him. On the way back, I tell Bill Warden, Bill, this is probably the last trip I'm going to take with you because I'm leaving North Central. He said, you leaving North Central? I said, yeah, I don't really want to leave, but I can't afford to stay. I've got this job offer with American Hospital Corporation, selling, pharmaceuticals. So I'm doing it because it's a lot more money. I got to take it. Okay. Here's what happens. Now, nobody ever admits to this, but this is not a coincidence.
Okay.
The next day, Rick gets a call from the president. Rick comes to my office and says, Gail Swing, who was president at the time, Gail Swing wants to meet with you. Okay, what does he want to meet with me for? I don't know. Gail Swing wants to meet with you. I go to Gail Swing's office, and Gail Swing says, okay, so there's a couple of opportunities here at North Central. He didn't even tell me. He starts that way. He says a couple of opportunities for here at North Central. One is, multicultural affairs, and the other one is in athletics. We need somebody to handle the business there, et cetera. We really don't have a title for it, but that's the. Is there either one of these you're interested in? I said, well, the athletic one. He said, okay. Now this is the worst deal I ever made.
Right.
He said, now we can't pay you what American Hospital Corporation will pay you, but what would it take for you to stay? And I gave him a number which was significantly more than what I was making, thinking I was giving him a number he was going to be challenged by. I said, well, I need to make this. And he said, done. Wow. And immediately I went, shoot, I didn't ask for enough.
Right, I ain't asked for enough. Right, you know, well, every time you get that number, it's 15% higher. So once you fall, you get what you want, man. Hey,
so Bill Warden and Dick Worley are the reasons why I didn't leave North Central in the late 80s. They went to Gail Swing and said, find this guy a job because we don't want to lose him. And I would have missed out on 2 more classes if I had left. So I have to give that guy a lot of credit.
Yeah, I always Val like little sister thump on the head, you know, tell her to stay in the house because she writes home. She can't stay out because mama said come in the house. But I always try to give Val, you know, and I think she learned a little bit hanging out with me, Megan Rim, Vanessa, Mike Drew, you know, all the people that we were kicking with last weekend just to learn.
Is he saying that you learned from him?
No, from us. From us.
Because I'm like, so you didn't learn anything from her.
Well, no, I did, but I'm just saying she was so young, Walt. She didn't understand these stories. Well, she didn't understand these stories, Walt. She didn't know nothing about these. Hey, Vanessa, Lisa, hey, Megan, y'all better jump up in here. Hey,
no. They don't have to jump up in nowhere. They don't have to jump up in nowhere. They don't have to do any of those situations. All I understand is I tried to fight to be the straight and narrow because it was good Lordy I was there. I wanted to share this very briefly. When Rick Spencer, I had written a screenplay and I had asked Rick, do you know anyone that's in Hollywood? I'd like to be able to pitch to somebody. And he gave me someone that had graduated from North Central, and I pitched my screenplay because of Rick Spencer. I didn't know anyone, and this was at MGM. They were getting ready to transition and I think they're about to get bought out by Miramax or something was going to happen. But I got a chance to pitch my screenplay. Nothing came of it, but I was able to stand in front of this guy in California because he graduated from North Central College and he's good friends with Rick Spencer. So I was like, wow. So there's a lot of us that have those stories of, you know, doing better and being better because of both you and Rick. So I just wanted to share that real quick.
No, I appreciate that because he was my partner and people.
Man, Rick was partner in crime, baby. I'm gonna give it to you. That was most definitely partner in crime. Let's take our last break of the night, Val. We're gonna come back and continue this conversation we have with my guy.
We have a break.
Yeah, we got overtime. We got overtime.
Yeah. This is overtime. This is all we're gonna do. And we're back.
Right back. Hey, you know, the funny part about all the comments are coming in. Megan said, man, the representation that matters. You know, Mike Drew said, man, he can't even help it because he's doing so good. You know, your sister said something. And JP Houston said, man, Reverend Willis Smith.
Yes. That was her father.
Yeah, Reverend Willis Smith, you know, I already know. I mean, but the thing is, I want to tell you, man, is that, you know, my mom, and this comes from upstairs, and I mean, you were laughing earlier. She was like, boy, I was 2 seconds. I love the old school language. I was 2 seconds from putting you out the house until, like you said, when you came and sit down with Miss Thomas and Daryl, when you came and sit down at my house about my mom and them about, listen, you know, Coach Ward is a Morgan Park guy. You know, North Central is an hour outside the city. You know, we come home, this and that. We got a train that runs all the way down to Union Station. So you can do this and that, you know, and it was so great. And now move forward when I'm on my LinkedIn walk to see people at some of the top 25, top 30 industry companies in worldwide that are linked in with me, hitting me up. Hey, man, I heard you from NCC, man. You got a podcast. Send me the link. I want to check it out. I want this and that. Is nuts. And tonight I told them you were on the show and they're like, oh yeah, I want to check that out. Ooh, man, I just want to give you your flowers. Me and Val talked about it earlier, but give you your flowers because without you making that sacrificial, decision to do what you did, and then sitting down with a Rick Spencer to then say, hey, we're going to do this, and Jeff Denard and all those guys, Kathy Timmons and all them people to do the things we had to do, at that time. And then my boy, if I would be so remiss, Walter, I got my name. I had to tell Val them. I got the nickname Sweet Tea from none other than my boy, Coach Paul Connor. I never forget. It was so hilarious. Because Paul, people don't know, he came in from the Miami Dolphins playing football, coaching and whatnot with Brown, man, and, and Clinton and all of them. And he said, man, what's your name? I said, Tony Thompson. They call me Tony T. No, I don't like that. I don't like. Give me a couple of days. I walk back in the gym, put up some shots, me, my brother Pete, and Rob Brown, and he looks over at me and says, come here, let me talk to you. I got your nickname. I said, what's that? I'm going to call you moving forward, Sweets. I said, Sweet. So every time he's talking, Sweet Tea. And it's hilarious that Val was up on the campus with me to see my guy, Carlos Barber, right?
Yep.
My classmate to get an award. See all the cats that got Rick Thompson, Mike Danka, all these different guys, Lisa Lackey, Kenny. I know you're watching.
Mike Lance.
Mike Lance, my boy. And his mama loved me to death. But, Sweet Tea became that household name, and it's crazy. But again, Walt, it was funny because no matter if you were black, white, whatever you was, like you said, we all messed together. And I got a special message for you tonight real quick that you have no idea. But the one and only, our classmate, Esther Benjamin, told me to tell you, hello. She's proud of everything you did. She's glad you received your award. She apologizes. She wasn't able to get into New York, come back home. I've been sending her all the pictures, but it's great. People that don't know Esther, you better Google her past. Oh, she's big time.
Yeah, you should know. If you don't know, you should know.
You don't know Esther, you should know.
Look, everybody in the class has done everybody proud from my perspective. There's certain folks that are operating on an international stage. She is at the head of that class. Esther, she's from Kenwood Academy.
Kenwood, yeah, worked out at Kenwood Academy, Bill Clinton's cabin, Obama's cabin, Oprah Winfrey's cabin. Y'all don't know, y'all better recognize.
See, Dawn Brooks, Dawn Lincoln.
Dawn attended last week. Seeing Tony again has just led me down, and I am here on the podcast. Don, thank you. I told you, Don, don't start. I just told Walter, you and Jerry made me sign my contract to come to school. Love Don. Don has been nothing but like day one. Don's always been cool with me. From day one to the day she walked out the university, it's been so cool. But you know what's so cool, Walt? Remember when you used to put together the minority picnic we used to have?
Yeah,
yep. That was cool. That was like, and again, that's why I talked to Val, and I just try to figure out from Val's class and moving forward, kind of where a lot of things lost off, because when Greg Jacobs talked to us here last week and he came out and kicked it with us, he said a lot of things had been lost by the wayside, because if I'm correct, Walt, since you left, there's not been another minority AD, correct?
No.
Yes.
No, Brian Johnson is probably the closest proximity to that seat whenever Jim Miller retires.
Correct.
And I owe North Central a lot, but at the end of the day, let's not get it twisted. I appreciate the flowers and I accept it. Yep. But you all made me. In period. You all created the opportunities that I ultimately was able to take advantage of. If it wasn't for what you all accomplished, my reputation would be fine, but it's hard to deny this much success in my corner. And so for me, it's very simple. there is no Walter Johnson without the rest of you guys. There just isn't. I'm not the same person. So I appreciate the flowers, but just understand you all made me. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that you all lifted me up and gave me a platform because of the success that you all achieved on your own. So thank you. I appreciate this, man. This is a blessing.
Man, no problem. Val?
Well, Walter, thanks. I mean, that's possibly what a lot of us, and I like that you hijacked the award ceremony and invited. I think we were about maybe 50 deep. 50 man, was it about 50 deep of us there?
Easy 50 deep, Val, and that cheer, you know, and I'm not talking about just us. That was someone, you know, it wasn't just all minorities. It was very.
No, I invited more than just like the reason why Matt Hook was there is because I invited Matt Hook. Like,
did Matt tell you? Do you know that was my roommate?
I did not know that until you said that to me the other night.
And when me and you were talking, me and Matt sitting, we laughed our ass off. Matt Hook and I were roommate. Made me love freaking Def Leppard and Stairway to Heaven every single day to give me. I'm like, dude.
I had no idea that you guys even had a connection. Matt has been one of my guys long term. Like, I've probably seen Matt more often than I've seen you, Tony, because he lives in the area. So no, it has never come up. Until you said that, and when you said that, I was like,
yeah,
did he mean it?
Yeah, and me and him laughed about it when he told me. And then he's working on some huge project with some people. And Val, I'll fill you in. But yeah, Matt and I never forget coming in. We both were roommates, and it was always so cool. We were first floor, first door, and Geiger, right before you go to the cafeteria. And of all people, Tommy Pavich was our RA basketball. So it was good. Yep. But yeah, me and Matt Hook, day one. And let me tell you something that's so funny. I never forget. Day one, we came in, and Matt's dad asked me to give him some money, you know, walking through the door because he was a financial advisor. And he's like, I'll give it back to you in 4 years. I was like, man, my mom was like, what the hell are you talking about, boy? I'm already paying enough. And where do you think my money going? And I gave it to him. On graduation day, he gives me an envelope and tells me not to open it up. And then when I opened the envelope, I was like, wow. And me and Matt's been tight since then. And it was so ironic that the night that we ate, you know, it's one thing to sit at those tables that they already situated, but to sit at the table right next to your freshman roommate. That was a whole different story for me, man. That was real cool.
Well, you all are special.
I just wanted to, I think we did this last week, but I think this is your son.
Oh, yeah. She goes, are you Walter Johnson's son? And I said, yes. And she said, you were in the car when your father drove me on a recruiting trip when you were like 4 years old, all the way to North Central from the city. And this is just a woman that was on a call with me. And so I say that because one, for my dad, I just want to say, like, I appreciate all of you and what you have brought out of him. He saw something you couldn't see in yourself, and he did the same thing with me, and that was his work. And now we're all here as a representative of that. And so it's not about money, it's not about station in life, it's not about awards or accolades or, you know, any of that. It's about like human connection, and can I bring my brother and my sister along with me? So I just want to say I appreciate that. And we have these things that everybody's been signing in the background. If you haven't gotten to sign one of these, I'm going to leave these right here. Make sure you sign before you leave because these things are hard to connect.
It's like these things, like they're called plaques. I went up to him, I said, what about those things? Let me get one of those things. I ain't like, what are you talking about, Tony? Like, the things, the plaques, dude. But, man.
That's
Walter,
my guy.
thank you. Thank you so much. We hopefully we've filled your cup, and we thank you so very much for this. I feel like I'm working in my broadcast journalism degree right now and doing this podcast. It's just different.
And what I know for a fact, I can just.
What do you know for a fact? What do you know for a fact?
that he did not think 35 years later he'd be sitting on a freaking podcast with Tony.
No. What was a podcast 35 years ago? Like, what the hell was a podcast?
Hey, Barry was at the library with floppy disks. What you talking about?
Podcast.
We didn't even know we could text message each other. Remember what we text? What are you talking about? Telephone call, $1,800. Boy, you better pick up that home phone and leave a message.
That's right.
Mike Drew says thanks. Yeah, well, Mike Drew says thanks. Juan Martinez, he's like, wow.
Juan, what's up, Juan? Oh my God. Juan.
And Jessica Houston is in the building. She says, Kenwood Broncos.
That's right.
Finest, Jessica, what's up? Hey,
So I want to end on this
in the cafeteria.
I want to end on this note. On top of the fact that I recruited some folks who knew how to compete from all over, I had the pleasure of recruiting some of the finest young women and the most handsome young men that North Central has ever seen.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Hey, and let me tell you something. And we made sure we all knew each other on the yard.
Hey. It was what it was.
And last note, right here, your sister, as we go out, said, thank you for this experience on this podcast. Bravo, as she said. Such a great show tonight. Love it. Lisa was so cool. And what was so cool about Lisa Walk, she tried to play like she was quiet until she kicked it with us. We had to open it. Come on, man. Come on.
I need you to not put her on blast. I mean, I know it's 30 years later.
Hey, you ain't got with Tony T.
Put nobody on blast.
Hey, you ain't got with Tony T, Val.
She can make noise when she needs to.
Exactly. But when she get on that track, you better what? She like roll run, man.
All right, Coach, do your job. Do your job. Okay, what is this real quick? What are we looking at?
Just for the things you've done, man, and opportunities that I've been able to come. I work with a lot of the athletes right now. I want to put a shout out. I wish I'd have sent Val the pictures. Didn't get an opportunity. Went to see my girl, Brooke Gillian, who's a Walt Belmont University, top-notch volleyball player, leads the Missouri Valley, kills, saves, and all that. And I brought my school, St. Cecilia High School, over. She's just an epitome of the athletes I work with in the brand, where I work with a lot of brands and mix them with the athletes and try to show them how to just extend their potentials and make as much as they can doing this NIL situation. So if you have a kid, a son, daughter, niece, nephew, I've got several people that have reached out to me over the last couple of weeks. Please get in touch with me at www.therisenil.com or hit me on the gram at the Pull Up Podcast Show, and we can talk about how we can do some opportunities for you.
I found this on IG.
Val, let me tell you something. Get up. Hey, stop looking at me. High school. I got the Catholic girls walk over to high school right now and put them to the test, man. Hey, I told them, y'all don't want to run, you better go play checkers because that's all we do.
Y'all special. Right. I appreciate this.
And thank you, Megan. Megan was like, hey, I got Alexander. Alexander's down in St. Louis. Hey, we got to give him a big shout out here at University of Missouri, St. Louis. He was at home until Megan put him on the train, told him, you ain't got to leave, but boy, you got to get to that train and get back to school last week.
That's right. That's right.
And of course, I wrote a book called A DJ Saved My Life. It is the memoir and also giving you guys the tips on how to start your own podcast. You go to purelighthouse.media.com, sign up for information about this podcast as well as the others. And if you want to get a copy, a signed copy, you can scan the QR code and let us know what you think about the book. And then on tomorrow, we're going to be chatting. We do the entertainment show, which is Interludes Extra Presents Talk on Tuesdays. We didn't get a chance to talk about the Diddy sentencing, but a lot of other things have come up. So we'll be chit-chatting about some things about that. And of course, join us on next week for another edition of the Pull Up Podcast Show with your boy, Coach
Man.
Tony Thompson. On
Man,
behalf
it's
of
been
myself
great.
and Coach Tony, we thank you so much for joining us on tonight. We're gonna wrap it up. Coach, what do we do when we wrap things
Man,
up?
you know, Walt, man, again, man, I appreciate, the good thing about everything is, I want you, when you get an opportunity to talk to Rick, I keep in touch. But you and Rick, man, it really made my life on the yard, what it is today. And my brother, Mike Drew, Mike always told me when he graduated, man, as long as I tell you to stay connected with me, whenever I'm good, you good. And it's been that way for 40 years. And so I love him to death. Megan, Lisa, your sister, but Vanessa was good. Sonia, Dawn. I can go on. Jessica, I can go everybody. And thank you guys for finally tuning in to my podcast and helping me be a big success. I appreciate it very much. But at the end of the day, put the deuces up. We have to say peace. Talk to me. Who you got?
I mean, just look at the lineup on the Millennials. You got Steph Curry, best 3-point shooter in of all time. Matter of fact.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the boys and Coach Tony, it's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. I said bounce the boys and Coach Tony, it's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. Kev is the engineer. Val is the one you hear. Hey, Coach Tony got the sports show. Let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. I said Kev is the engineer. Val is the one you hear. Hey, Coach Tony got the sports show. Let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. Let's go. Hey. Let's go. Hey. Let's go. Hey. Let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up.